So, where do I start and what do we want to talk about? It's insanely hot in Florida. Had to go for the competition like 3-4 weeks ahead of time up north to do some training because it was pretty crazy. Cindy, how are you? There you go. Buenos Aires, Raul. Morocco City. Man, I was only one time there. I've been to quite a few of the places, but Morocco is a place I would want to go again for sure, eventually, some point. Canada, Lise, love your podcast. Very cool. I'm working on something right now, and I believe I'm gonna make that podcast happen. I'm super excited. It's been a little bit kind of tricky with the podcast lately because I had all the students from my last class, well, not all of them, but quite a few, came this last weekend for certification, so that took a lot of time. I'm still kind of going through the tests and everything, but yeah, another class is done and we're gonna have the next one coming up. My next course starts Monday, which is pretty cool. I need to come to Sydney. Yes, I can't believe you guys are still in lockdown, Australia. But Sydney doesn't sound bad at all. I was, man, when was the last time I was in Australia? It's been a long time. But I have a crazy story about Sydney airport. I just had to make a connection and go. I'm not sure if it was Brisbane or Perth. I was going somewhere, but I was connecting in Sydney, and a golden retriever decided to indicate on my bag as it came out on the belt and just sat on top of the bag, so proud. And everybody was like, oh, let's see whose bag it is. I'm like, yeah, that's me. It's just full of dog toys and stuff, but it was pretty funny. Gold Coast, Australia, yeah. There's gonna be a bunch of seminars. We're gonna have quite a few here at my place, and probably gonna go to a few places as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I know I'm going to New York State early September to work with few police departments there, New York PD, and few things like teaching helper work and stuff like that. So that's gonna be exciting. If you give me thumbs up, I'm talking a little bit not so loud, but I hope you hear me. I can get louder, but let me know if it's not. So yeah, been training my dogs. Got so many now to train. After the competition, everybody was kind of left behind, and now it's all about catching up. So it's a lot of catching up that I'm doing with all this. Just what I have: 2 young dogs, 2 older dogs, and my competition dogs. Kind of insane, pretty insane. Larry, what's up, man? So yeah, very hard to do some training, but I'm also planning to go on vacation sometime in August. Going to Europe somewhere, maybe Bulgaria, and then who knows what else. Cheers, Peter. We're in New York. I'm gonna put it on the website. Ava, go away. You're not working anymore. Step down. It's time off. Man, where was it? Yeah, I'm gonna post that, but it's I think it's closed for all of them. It's just few police departments that been really wanting me to do something with them, and I gave in. So, Mark, how's my boy doing? Okay, thank you, Kati, for the volume. So what else? What do you guys want to talk about? There is no plan. We can do whatever we want. Talk anything about dogs or no, nothing else, of course. A vacation in Philippines, man, that's gonna be interesting. And then I get stuck there, and then I'm gonna have to buy a house on the beach, and then who knows? Risky to go to Philippines right now, Justin. Johnny, very cool. Glad that you're in the course. It's gonna be exciting. Mark, what are you trialing? What are you doing? PSA or IGP? Where are you at right now? Obsession over toy turn into obsession for the game. I like that. That's a good one. Where is the next litter of puppies? Man, we have puppies right now. They're how old are they? 5 days old, maybe 6 days, 5 days. It's pretty cool. I actually added probably 2 new things. I had a very cool lecture that I just did for the guys that came for the certification, titled How the Brain Works, and it was pretty cool. Now it's up to Eric to kind of put it together, and we will plug it into the modules for sure. Like that one specifically, I'm super excited because it's been on my head, and every once in a while during podcasts or whatever dog conversation, I kind of Zoom calls with the class, I give a little pieces from it, and finally we got the chance to really make that lecture. So that one's super exciting. I cannot wait to hear the comments back from it. Now, what was I talking before that? It's crazy. I gotta figure how this whole thing works. Kirill, I like to hear about working dogs and kids. My dog is amazing with 1-year-old, super calm and basically doesn't really care, but she gets too excited with other kids and might get voicey, which is kind of scary for most, especially parents. Man, I'm not sure what kind of advice I want to give you, because that's gonna require quite a few questions for me to go back and forth with you to be able to give you some sound answer. Katrin, the shepherds are doing awesome. The shepherds are doing really good. They are 2 of the dogs that I'm kind of starting to pay a little more attention now. Today was a really funny session. The one that I have, his name's Fulbo, and he's stop coughing. What's wrong? What are you doing? Go do something else. Ava, go. So yeah, he 9 months old, 10 months old, somewhere in there, and he had 2 sessions in protection. And it's super funny because he's never really actually done training, and it's a show shepherd, but it's like really cool. And he would always kind of go for your feet, or I mean actually anywhere. Just knows that he can nip you and you're gonna react. So it's like his specialty to do in a very good way, to just kind of get you playing. And I had to put a bite suit today, actually the last 2 sessions, and just so I'm trying to give him a pillow to bite, and he has nothing to do with the pillow. He's like, I want to play, I want to nip at you. So finally I actually let him. I'm like, okay, bite. So he's so excited, and he just bites me on the bite suit. Like, he's never really done bite suit, but now he has an opportunity. So he's like all like totally enjoying it. And it sucks that I have to tell him that it's not appropriate, because I want to kind of redirect him to play with something, even if I don't know what kind of sport or what he's gonna do in the future. He might very well end up doing something on a bite suit, who knows. But at least for right now, I want to be able to get him to play with something else besides just biting my legs and arms and everybody here. But he's just like, it's a lot of fun to play around with, because he's just a good natured dog. And so yeah, I probably can make a video of this one tomorrow or something when we work him. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Man, you're going too fast. I cannot keep up here. Will you ever come to Wisconsin? Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin. In fact, right now I have my van back. You know, like, I don't know, some of you may not even know, some of you may have forgotten, but I bought that Sprinter extended van, and I started converting it, and so finally it's done, kind of. There is some issues with the AC, because it's running on a lithium batteries, so I can shut the whole thing off, and it's supposed to keep the car cool for at least 5-6 hours. It's pretty cool technology, but there is some glitch in it, the computers or whatever, so it's not done yet. So anyway, that's gonna be done. The weather's gonna get better, and there's gonna be a road tour. We're gonna get on the road, we're gonna do some cool things, that's for sure, and we're gonna announce where we're going and what we're doing, so it's gonna be cool. So yeah, Wisconsin or anything really is not out of a question, for sure. There's no question. But yeah, the puppies, back to the puppies. 5 days old right now. A very, very cool female out of Ybor. Her name's Vega, and crazy breeding, but why not? She lives in Bulgaria with a good friend of mine, Alexander, and so he drove to the Czech Republic to breed to Barry Sabatore, because he's getting old, and I had few dogs from that line and really like him, and so I was like, okay, let's do that breeding. So he ended up driving to the Czech, driving back to Bulgaria, then we get the female here. Now she has the babies, and I should post some pictures later on, but very exciting. It's just like a lot of females and only 2 boys in there. 10 puppies, 8 puppies, and then I have another one coming up probably in the next week or so. Also really cool breeding. Working on my Malinois website, which is gonna be done pretty soon. It needed some uplift, and that's kind of why there is not too much going on there, but that's coming up. That's gonna be all cool. Let's see what's going on, man. Dog training advices, that's what you guys want. Ryan, I have a 12-week-old puppy. When she's in her kennel, she will not stop barking. I try and wait till she quits before I let her outfit her, but she still barks all the time. Any advice? Yeah, you definitely don't need to wait for her to stop. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, that's a long conversation, but you don't need to wait. You can teach the puppy to be quiet and then let it out. It's much better way than just waiting it out and getting the puppy all frustrated and empty and just kind of exhausted from barking to get out. I would just, even if you need to do some mild, like, hey, no, stop, whatever, lemon juice bottle, whatever you want, but you can teach the puppy to be quiet and then let it out when it's quiet. Of course, that's very easy to say because it's just kind of on the surface of things. You need to know why the puppy is barking all the time. Does she get all the things that she needs for the day and stuff like that, difficult answers to just kind of throw out there, but for sure don't need to wait for the puppy to be quiet. You either can teach the puppy how to be quiet, just get proactive, and yeah, there's many ways to do that. I don't want to point you to videos that I have, but I have a bunch of puppy videos anyway. So when you will release the recall video, man, there is so many videos that we need to get out. The video right now that's really like just it has to come out. It's the healing video part 2. We have footage for recall, we have quite a few, but I don't know when we're gonna have it out. That's gonna be interesting, we'll see. Jay, what's going on? Haven't talked to you in actually quite a bit, I think. We need pictures of the van. Yeah, I know. It's too dark now, otherwise I'm gonna give you a tour, but it's pretty cool. I love it. There is so I mean, of course I have a little refrigerator and a bath and a toilet and a sink and all this stuff, a bed, but I can put 4 dogs inside, and the crates custom order WT metal, which is like by far my favorite company, even though sometimes they just take forever and whatever, but I was lucky. I got my crates and super happy. Yeah, I got a bunch of cool things. I mean, the van looks really cool. So yeah, there's gonna be some pictures, and of course I'm gonna be driving all over the place, so who knows, hopefully everybody gets to see it. I'm super proud of it. What do you consider to be the fundamentals of dog training? Ooh, Zakarian, very philosophical questions. Hoo-hoo. The fundamentals of dog training, man. For me, the fundamentals of dog training is it's not one piece. It's actually quite a few pieces coming together. But I don't rush puppies to do all the things that everybody does and you see on YouTube. 8 weeks old, or even 4 months old. Like I take my time, but I do play. I'm super big on play, and that's kind of where there is a lot of benefits to it. And once my dogs can play and do the way I want it, then training moves very fast, very, very fast. So that's kind of, if I'm doing something that's if I can say about fundamentals, that's probably would be heavy emphasis on play and not rushing for anything really. Medicine Hat, Matt. What is the Medicine Hat? Alberta, Canada. Is that cannot be a town? And Denver, Utah. What's going on? Like, Germans are waking up already? What is it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What is like 4 o'clock? You cannot be. What are you doing? Taylor, thank you. You can always jump in and give information on the puppies. William. Come to Chicago and Fabi and Romo will run a host seminar. Yes, I just cannot open yet for like actually traveling and doing seminars. I'm so busy with especially with the school and all the times that I have the people that come here to the graduate from the school, but it's gonna be happening. It's gonna be happening. Larry, you got a good question. Favorite dog of all time, assuming you're talking about my dog. I mean, one of my dogs. And I've been asked this so many times. You know what is crazy is that, let me see if I can do it. I don't even know how to do this, but if I, there. See this little York has been on my screen saver for, I don't know, 10 years or something now. Who knows how long it's been. So, yeah, he was a very, very cool thing. And he's definitely, you know, I don't know if it was the little dog or whatever, but I you know, I like him a lot. Miss him for sure. Man, all of my dogs, I mean, really, it's kind of, that's the hard part about, like, I wish I have a little more kind of, I can step away and look at a little different at them, because otherwise I just get so many. Like, I really, like right now, even in the house, I have Ibu sleeping right there, Ever's right here, Ice is in the other room because he's gonna be pacing and not let me talk here. I have 2 young dogs also here, and the reason they're here is because I love them. But I can fall in love with dogs super easy. That's a big problem for me. Like, seriously, like not a good thing. And every time I have an opportunity to advise somebody about how many dogs should have, 1 or maybe two, but that's it. Like, there's no need. So, favorite dogs, it's kind of like favorite kid, and of course, if there was a dog that really stood out, I would point it out. Django was a super special dog for me. Like, I got to play, I got to learn and experiment, and it was you know, I was just kind of really playing with all sorts of ideas in my head, and just testing and trying with him, and he was really good. So I mean, by the time he was 3 years old, and that's pretty crazy, but by the time he was 3 years old, he won the Malinois Nationals, he won the USCA, the German Shepherd Nationals, he won the AWDF Nationals, he was vice champion of the world at the FMBB, and then he got hurt, and he got to live, what was 16 years old or something, you know. But he was a smart dog. Like, you couldn't just wake him up, and 3 years of not training, and he would go out and do crazy stuff, like so on. But also very good in nature, and just kind of stuff like that. So that was That was one dog for sure that right now I have. Hey Deb, how are you? I have a son from Django right now that is 8 months old, and of course with artificial insemination and all that. So he's, it's kind of cool to have somebody back from that. Kenny, of course, how can you not like him? He had the craziest story. I sold him as a puppy to a friend of mine, and Andy's his name, and he was doing training and everything, and eventually at 6-7 months old he's like, man, this dog is really cool. I cannot keep up with him. You need to maybe take over. I'm like, I'll take over, but I cannot just spend all this time training and all of a sudden you change your mind 2 years from now. It was pretty crazy. It was like a divorced family. Every time off season he would go back home, and then when it's time for me, I get him like a couple of months prior to some big competition, get him ready, then we go. Yeah, he did everything, like won the same year, won the AWDF, won the FCI, and won the FMBB. And I was like, okay, what else? Sure, I can do it again and maybe win again, or maybe most likely not win. And so he, kind of ended it there. But then, of course, Ice right now, it's like I love him, and Ibor, and yeah, gosh, I can talk about every single one of my dogs in the same way that I talked about the one I talked about. That's the crazy thing. That's why I end up with so many dogs. It's just insane. But again, the little dog is on my screensaver on my phone forever. Yeah. Let me see here. Want to know if you'll be having any obedience or bite work training seminars at your place coming up. 2 weeks ago we lost our male. Yeah, we're gonna have, like right now it's just super hot, so we don't have we don't do nothing. But in the problem with all the seminars in my place right now is that I really trying to offer as much as I can to all the students and the people that graduate from the school, and so that has become like obsession, a priority in my world, and it's super exciting, super rewarding to do, instead of the problems always like, and man, I don't know, like I've been doing seminars for 20 years in any part of the world, and one of the things that's kind of disappointing with seminars very often is that you're kind of like a broken record. You're pretty much going on autopilot, talking about exactly the same thing that you talk 10, 15, 20, 30 seminars in a row before. And it's not that it's not important, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it's so much more interesting and rewarding to do a seminar, a workshop, then do another one, but catch up from there and keep growing and developing, and that's kind of with the school, the joy that I get from that. It's really cool because I get to move forward and expand on previous knowledge and add to it, and it becomes very, very cool. But there's gonna be seminars. The other ones that I need to do is, I have so many people that have dogs from me. I have so many people around that have actually trained with me forever. So, like for my kennel, I typically at least once a year offer an event just for people that have dogs from me, and I haven't done that, especially with COVID and all this shit. So that's gonna be another big one. Then I have a really big event coming up to where it's December for like all the graduates from my school will come, and we're gonna have some fun few days of training and just kind of basically being on the same page and doing, you know, cool things. So after all this, in between all those things, there's gonna be some other seminars and stuff. Yes, Nirvana, of course. How can you forget Nirvana? I can talk to you about Nirvana forever. Yeah, I just had them out a few times today, training super early. And Nirvana, man, I love her. Larry, at what age do you start your sport dogs on tracking? So this is the shitty part of living in Florida. Like, I just love Florida because I love the beach, I love the weather. Like, I cannot lie to you, I love the weather. I hate cold weather, but at the same time, for dog training sucks, right? So right now, if I want to go tracking, that will be frustrating. That will be like the most frustrating thing to do right now, just because the heat and the fire ants. And it doesn't matter, like, I've been here for a while and I've been trying forever all sorts of treats and all sorts of magic and freezing and freaking flats and whatever you name it. It's frustrating. So for me, living in Florida, the climate basically dictates when I'm gonna start. The thing that I always advise for tracking, if you're gonna start, it's very much like learning a foreign language, you know. Like, you basically want to start when you have the chance. You give yourself the opportunity to practice it every day. Otherwise, you know, imagine learning Chinese and saying, hello, my name is Ivan, and then we wait another week for my next lesson. There's no fucking way, you know. So tracking is one of those things that even if you do some things a little bit wrong, but you're persistent and you go often enough, and often enough is, I cannot even say twice a week. Like, tracking, especially when you're starting to train tracking, I would do it every day if I can. And I would love doing it every day. That's the thing, I love tracking. But probably I'd say minimum of 3 times a week. And age is not as important. Like, for me, age is a very interesting, you know, like, there is no, even though the working lifespan of a dog, like, the peak is somewhere in between 4, 5, and possibly by the end of 6 years. Of course, there is exception, just as I was saying, Django was 3 years old and he just did everything. But, you know, as a rule of general kind of thing, you know, and even though it's a short time, what I think that we can do with an 8-week-old puppy, 10, 12, 14, 5-month-old, you very much can accomplish in a much shorter time with much better understanding of what you're doing and what you're asking from the dog as they get a little older. And of course, these are, you know, we're just talking and having drinks, so don't take this, guys, as some serious conversation, okay? But if the weather's nice and I have a young little puppy, he'll be tracking, no question, or she. but it's because it's an outlet and whatever. But if it happens that it's not the right time, being busy or the weather or the puppy, whatever, doesn't kind of connect it yet, I have no problems waiting. Like, there's pros and cons on both. That is the way I see it. And the one way, starting early, is you're not imprinting, because imprinting doesn't really work like that. That's just kind of a shitty way that we are using that word and that term in dog training. But nevertheless, you can definitely stimulate the little brain and get some things to wake up and start working on those things. But again, the other way is, as the puppy gets a little bit older, the conversation you're having and the lesson you're having is much deeper and much more. Like, I am super, I don't know where we're going down some rabbit hole right now because of that question. But like, I'm super big on teaching the dog whatever I'm teaching it really with the real meaning and the real purpose. I don't know if that's gonna make sense. Let's say we're running blinds for IGP, and the dog needs to run around and needs to check the blind. Like, I want him to check the blind because he really thinks that there can be somebody in there, not because there's gonna be a ball hanging out or there is food on the ground. Of course, you can go that route. It's just not interesting to me. And you know, going very tight around the blinds. Of course, you can make him believe that there is posts and fishing cords and whatever else, and they will go tight. But for me, it's way more interesting to find a way to tell him, dude, yeah, you have all this room, you have all these other choices, but this is how you and I want to do this specific exercise. That's what I get a kick out of when I do training. So any training that you see, it's and anything that I do, it's kind of, my brain goes around that kind of concepts. But yeah, like tracking, again, it's a very cool thing. The main thing is, anything that you do, you go in and play with it, and don't kind of step in the water and come back. Oh, it's not today. Like, decide when you're gonna have time and commit to it, and then go, because it's definitely something. You have very talented dogs, you have dogs that are not so talented, you have dogs that just would never really want to do this tracking, which is amazing that it's even possible, but I've seen it. And the same with trainers. You have trainers you are in the spectrum. If you commit to it and you give enough time, things will start to come together. Why is it telling me to check my connection issues? Do we have a connection issue? That's weird. Nicole, Nirvana, right? Colombia, guys, man, I don't know. I don't even know if I recognize Colombia if I go again. I gotta go again at some point. It's been a long time. Give me some thumbs up just to make sure that my connection is still on. I mean, everything is telling me that it's on, but I got this warning message that something is not right. Glitchy, huh? Weird, I don't know why. Maybe we're getting another storm coming up, or yeah, everything's connected the right way, so I don't know. Occasional freeze. Okay, yeah, I mean, hopefully it catches up. That's part of living in Florida summertime. Who knows when it's gonna just start pouring down like crazy. Let's see who else is here and what are we talking about. Patrick Smith, what's your number one thing psychology wise that you select a dog for? Psychology wise? I don't know if I get the question. Yeah, I'm not sure if I get that. Have I worked with Dobermans? Yes, yeah, of course. I mean, I've been training dogs for so long, it's very hard to say dog that I haven't really worked with. In the last years I had a very cool one, but unfortunately I just didn't have time. I was working so much on my school stuff that I had to cancel all training, privates, whatever, but there was a very, very good lesson that I had. Kimberly is ready for a helper seminar. That's pretty cool. Next thing you know, you're having another dog, which you shouldn't. But the next seminar, helper seminar, if we're gonna have it, it's sometime in the winter months. Ibor. Sometime winter time. How many world championships did I won? I've won 2. I've been once second. I think I've been twice fourth, once sixth, so on. You know what's cool about this? I was talking about this at one point this weekend with my students. Of course it's amazing to be a world champion. I mean, it's a goal that you chase and you dream and it happens and you're like, wow, what the fuck, you know. And I got to experience it twice, so it's very cool. But probably the best part of what I do and what I've been doing all these years is able to compete in this high level for so long, and what that brings as a reward is amazing, because you know, at any given time, at any world championship, you have at least 10 competitors that are really, really good at it, and then you have some others that their dog is retired this year or they have a new dog. So I would say probably, I mean, this is just me thinking out loud right now, but I think there is about 40 people in the world that are really good, like not really good, they're just above. And I've had the experience to watch them compete, watch them train, talk to them, drink with them, compete against them, and that's one of the most amazing things. Like, you know, sometimes conversations get really funny, especially social media and what you've done and, you know, have you done anything, or you, or whatever, and just goes in a whole different conversation. But you know, like winning those world championships, that's super cool. But being around, just in this environment, around these people for so long, in so many different ways, priceless. For a dog trainer, priceless. Like just that is worth to. I wish it to anybody. Let's see what else. The other side of the world. Yeah, the world is all the same now. Let's see here. There is some star sending thing which I had to say that it's okay, but I didn't know what that is. Hugo, what's going on? Yeah, that's true. That's a. I think there is few other people that do this now, but especially at the time when I won, you know, selecting my dogs, doing the breeding, doing the training, and winning world championship. Yeah, it's crazy journey, crazy stuff. Man, you guys in Europe are waking up. Let's see, what do we have? After we end a play session, my cue, can I let my man carry the ball a mile? Yeah, dude, you can let the dog carry you the toy. It's not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Like I mean, for me, absolutely no problem at all. Even if, regardless if the dog is very playful or not playful at all, taking the ball home, no big deal. Either way, perfectly cool. Felix, what is your favorite thing to train? Obedience, protection, tracking. Yeah. So this one, man, you kind of have some cool questions tonight, or I just haven't talked dogs in a while, so since this weekend. My favorite thing to train, I can look at a trainer and a dog doing obedience, and I can look at two things very quickly and put them in a certain category of knowledge and abilities. I think obedience is it's like the most important thing, because everything goes through obedience. Obedience is not about heel, sit down, stand, come. Obedience is about talking to each other back and forth. And if you can have a conversation back and forth that's correct, then obviously you can teach whatever else you want to teach better than if you didn't. So I'm super big on obedience, but what I like in dog training, it changes over the years, really. I mean, it really changes. But right now, what I find that I like, and again, this kind of cool, because I literally was talking about these things during this certification weekend. What I really like right now is challenges, like things that I haven't seen, things that I haven't experienced, or even if I have, but it's like, okay, there is a piece here that's missing. Which piece is it? How do we address it? Can I find the piece, or do I need to come up with plan B? That's kind of what is interesting to me way more right now. There's got to be a little something that it's not going exactly how I want. And I know I know a lot of trainers would get frustrated when that happens. I actually welcome it, because that's really how you grow as a trainer, and that's what keeps you going on, at least me. Those times where things are not going exactly how I want. And it doesn't matter if it's a pet dog, it doesn't matter if it's a police dog, it doesn't matter if my competition dog. You know, like how I had the last year, for whatever crazy freaking reason, my dog decided that he's not gonna track. That, you know, I mean, not that I enjoyed it, but at the same time, that was diving deep into, dude, what is going on? Let's see how we can figure this out, because you're not showing me anything, like making all these beautiful tracks every time in training, no matter how I stage it and what we do. And then 2 national championships, you just don't want to. This just was mind-boggling. And this last trial, we got 97 points. And what was cool is, as the track was going on, he kept building more confidence and just finishing stronger than he started, instead of starting strong and breaking down one way or another towards the end, which is very common. So yeah, that's in short that answer, Felix. It's interesting challenges. Like, I love this. Like that's time stops for me when this happens. That's what I like. Let's see here. Obedience, the queen of IGP. Yeah, Hugo, but it's not just IGP, man. I really think obedience is, you know, like if we can agree to do things, the way we accomplish that cooperation, the way we accomplish to agree to do things one way, is through obedience, when we have that right, you know. And it's a crazy thing. IGP is by far the most it's just insane, the level of obedience and the demand of obedience. And yeah, I'm not gonna go there right now, but yeah, it's just, I was gonna start talking about, you know, like just positive only or versus whatever training and stuff, but I don't feel like opening that can of worms right now. Okay, let's see here. Ivan, in regards to a response you discussed earlier about puppy development, what is the window during development that you truly determine that a puppy will be fit to do protection? Oh yeah. Whoo. When you personally know the genetics of the pup. Yeah, that's another $1 million question. It's a very hard one. I mean, it's a really hard one to answer. Few of the dogs that I've won championships with, I sold them as puppies. They didn't do something. The trainers didn't see something at the time, and they came back to me. And that's a very common problem, especially, well, no, I cannot even say that. It's not just a beginner trainer. I see it with people that are training 20, 30 years and keep going through dogs and just being super impatient. And the more they're going through dogs, they get even more impatient and more demanding in what they expect. And you have to consider maturity, you have to consider your style of training, you have to consider the people around that are helping you. Puppies can start super good, then they can have a weird stage and come back strong. Puppies can be super sleepy for a very long time, and next thing you know, for whatever reason, they're 13 months old and now they're like, I want to do this. There's like all these options. So you have to give them a chance. I think we are not giving dogs a chance. We're very, I see these puppies or these videos and they're doing it like this. It's like, you gotta know, you're watching YouTube training videos, you're not watching competition. And what you see in YouTube training videos, you're seeing probably take 43. You're not gonna see the ugly ones. You're gonna see the most beautiful execution of something, and then somehow a lot of trainers are like, oh, this is what my dog needs to be doing this at that age, and it's a bad recipe. So very, very hard to do. But of course, knowing the genetics, knowing a little bit of the line, and hopefully a breeder that has that knowledge can tell you if what you're seeing is normal for these dogs, or maybe it's a little off. Because of course there is time that you pick up a puppy and you think this is amazing puppy, and it just turns out not to be that amazing puppy. But more often than not, they get burned from kind of like the kid that's like has to play tennis 3 times a week, no matter what parents are taking him. And eventually it's 16, 17 years old and it's like, I'm done. That's it. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot that comes in that. So that's that question. Let's have some drinks. Hopefully everybody's well. How are the Australians, Singaporeans, Philippines, and Taiwan? How is your morning? Because we're drinking on our part of the world. So we got this really cool, I don't know if you can see it, but it's super funny. It's a set. Alright, people, what do you think? Thoughts on different healing? Yeah, I mean, there's few ways. Thinking of obedience as communication, as you mentioned earlier, is one of the best things I have heard. It makes training so much different. Cool, Corey. It really, I mean, that's what's about. It's like, I keep referring to my classes, but all the conversations that I have with them, I get quite a few trainers that are having pet training businesses and whatever, and one of the big things is what do you tell a pet owner? Why do they need to do sit and down and stand and come? It's not all the time because the dog needs to be a soldier and do these things. It's you're building a common language, a base, and depending how you build that, it's gonna go one way or it's gonna go the other way. And it really, that's what obedience is. It's talking the same language, agreeing. Who is another top world trainer you would love to have a podcast with, possibly over a drink, and talk different techniques and experience? Donald, this is a beautiful question. I talk with a lot of them, and unfortunately the conversations are offline, and the reason this happens is it sucks on many levels, but you cannot have honest conversation when certain equipments are banned in your country, and you're gonna the penalties are insane. And so, those conversations end up always being kind of fake or taking one direction, and something really important gets missed out. So I don't feel that I will do any good to this. It's hard where they are, it's unfortunate where they are, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I would talk with any of them. I cannot pick one against another. I think they're all. It's a very, very, everybody has reached something that only few. I mean, think how many people are chasing those dreams, and how many world championships are in the last 20 years, right? You cannot have 100. So to get there, of course, you want to listen to all those people. They, it's really cool, but it gets really kind of watered down what they will talk about. It's very unfortunate, Expanding on something. Juan Carlos from Colombia. What is going on? What are these signs that my thing is just, I don't know if I am live or not. How is Cali, my friend? I need to come to Cali. Like, seriously. How are things? Hopefully everything is good back there. I miss you guys. I still, every once in a while, some really fun memories from all these trips to Colombia comes back in my head. We gotta do it again. And maybe do some ayahuasca trip to Amazonia. That could be cool. If you tell me that you can hook me up with some cool shamans, man, we have some conversation going. Diane, thank you for the glasses. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I thought they were really funny, and then I had one pair for a while, and next thing you know, I'm like, I just have now few of those, and they're kind of my glasses now. Tequila time, of course, tequila time. Utah, not for you. You are waking up, and in Germany, you cannot drink and drive tequila. Not that you're going anywhere. How is Jacare? What's going on? I may, when I'm going to Europe, I mean, obviously I'm gonna stop in Germany. I don't know for how long, but I'm gonna stop, so maybe we see you there. We'll see. Michael Lopez, what type of games do you recommend for a 5-month-old Doberman that has a high prey drive? That's good that he has a high prey drive. Do chase and catch, do possession games, or whatever else you want to call it, like the like I cannot recommend playing games strong enough, like seriously. Play ball, tug of war, board games, very, very, which is just endless benefits. So if you do it right, if you don't, then you kind of butcher it, and just like anything else, of course, you know that. As a breeder, what do you find most challenging? The most challenging probably is you're trying combinations. And every time you work dogs, if you're a breeder, you're always thinking, okay, what is that coming from? What is that coming from? Do I have this in my line? Do I need this in my line? Next thing you know, you try. Maybe it comes out this way, maybe it doesn't come this way. Next thing you know, it comes out the way you want it, and you get excited and you want to do it again, or you want to do something very similar to that. But then you gotta wait. And that wait is like, I don't, it's not necessarily challenging, but that's kind of the, there is this impatience of, and I don't, like, I like my dogs and females, and I don't breed them ever back to back, unless for some reason the breeding didn't take or whatever. So they always have to skip at least one cycle before they're bred again. And that's kind of what I'm saying, just waiting for that next one. So like, for example, that breeding that I was just talking about earlier, with the dog in Czech, before that I bred her to another one, Miloš Kovač, which is also in Slovenia, and kind of the same crazy drive and back and forth and flying and all that, and amazing puppies, like amazing. I wish I needed a dog at that time, I would keep one. And then I had to wait, and then I'm like, okay, do I do this one again or do I do this? So a whole different world with breeding, very interesting world. No training, seminar, workshop, or even a trial here in my place. I am only learning through the internet. Justin, that's okay, man. You should be happy that you can learn through internet. When I was starting to do dogs, there was no internet. I mean, just that, imagine that. Like we can stop right there. There is no internet. A whole freaking different way to get information, and then to separate the shitty information and know which one you want. And on top of that, there is this communist East Europe, West Europe. It's such a separation, such a divide, That's kind of how I grew up. And I know it's not easy not to have people around, but you have social media, and as dangerous as it is, you can kind of do the right things, and you can, it's a cool thing. Jessica, Michael Ellis, yeah, that definitely can be a conversation that probably is gonna take 6 hours, and everybody by the end is gonna be either really bored or super excited. Me and Michael don't talk often, but sometimes I would call him, sometimes he would call me, and that's kind of what happens. We try to just catch up on things for literally like 2-3 hours on the phone. I could definitely have a podcast with him. Valdir Silva Roca, where are you from? Augusta, Georgia. I hope to be able to attend your seminar one day, just to bring my German Shepherd and watch you speak and work. Yeah, whenever we have seminars, presentations, anything like that, we will announce, so everybody is welcome. Amanda, you can hook me up with a couple of shamans. Of course, everybody probably can hook me up with a couple of shamans. It depends how good of a shaman we're talking about. Brazil. Cool. Yeah. I was gonna go to Brazil actually a few months back, and then everything went. It looked like there was a possibility, and then it all went back. Caipirinha, of course, anything as long as the cachaça is good one, because you and I know it can be devastating in the morning. All right. What's a funny, amusing behavior you've seen pop up again and again in your lines? Oh, there are some, Catherine. It's a cool question. There are some. What would it be? Cannot think of it right now. I'll get back to this one. Yeah, Rotten running wild. That's Miloš's dog, a badass dog. He could never show him. The dog's just him, and the two of them, they just couldn't find the obedience, to agree to do things the way he wanted. So, but the dog's just super cool. I don't think many people have bred to him in Europe, and I just messaged him recently to make sure that the dog is still there, because I definitely gonna do this again. Does spaying a bitch reduce her drive? Yeah, spaying, all this kind of, spaying, neutering, these are bad ideas. Like I never ever would suggest it unless there is an actual medical problem that can be resolved directly by that. Otherwise, I'm super against it. It changes physiology, it changes who you are, it changes your identity, it changes hormone. Like there is not much that doesn't change, and all of it, it's a bad idea. So don't, if you can tolerate it, don't do it. And of course, if you protect her from just getting pregnant and having puppies, that's a bad idea. So like everything else, you have the pros and cons. What competition, Mali, outside your breeding program, has impressed you the most in recent years? 2 I mean, it's not one or two. Yeah, me and names, it's kind of crazy. Like what I need to do is, like on question like this, what we typically will do, like with my friends, we'll go to working dog or something, and then we'll go to some championship, and then we go, okay, now that's the dog, and this is why that dog is like this, and this is why that dog is like that, and so on. Yeah. Okay, how are you? I don't know if you caught up this, but somebody asked if I've worked with Dobermans before, and guess who came into my mind right away. Yeah. Okay, let's see some translation, because the Arabic I'm not that good at, but I can actually get some. I understand to some level. Massive fan, can you please do a shout out to Sydney Mondial Club? Nice. How many people are you guys there, Andrew? And how long you've been? Marina, of course I'm with glasses. I mean, it's not because I cannot see, you just look more, Like when you go on Facebook Live, especially, you kind of wanna. It's a different look, right? So now that you're near somewhere on the East Coast here in Florida, hopefully we hang out sometimes, we meet. There should be some time that we can do that for sure. All right, Hugo, let's see. Tell the 5 strong and competition dogs that you see in your life. Ooh, Jesus, man, these are tough questions. I need more drinks for this stuff, and I seriously, to answer these kind of questions, I gotta drink, I gotta have some smoke, and I need to be able to talk with you and go on working dog. That's what, gosh, before the competition, when this championship a few weeks ago, I was staying with Mark Scocchio, and every night till like 4 a.m. that's what we did. And strong and competition dogs, these are such a cool questions. 5 of them, damn, of all times too, I bet. Wow. All right, I have a double question that I need to answer. Are we talking strongest competitions like dogs that make points, or just strong-minded dogs? I'll get back to you. Exactly, Marina. Professor Balabanov. No. Jackson, how has the high-level Malinois evolved over the years, or did they have it right 40 years ago? That's a good one. So I would say, I mean, everything evolves, right? But the some level we try to we like some dogs, and we try to, you know, keep that whatever we like with them. And Marina, I mean, I'm gonna bring the puppy to your house, I'm not kidding. And it's like okay, I'll talk to you about this. I like this conversation already. Actually, I'm gonna hit a like here. The dogs in the past, you know, like when you any time you look at the past, you look at it with some nostalgia. And yeah, it's a hard one, because you know, like, you have different style of training. You have way better understanding of training today than 20, 30, 40 years ago. But there were some dogs, and I was fortunate, like, man, like knowing the Diopoutois breeder, living there, working, seeing in person all these dogs that were like legends and still are, you know, and all that happened in a time where I was so hungry, and I was just like, wow, this is just amazing. And so the impressions that I have are very strong, and I can always probably, I'm very biased to what I see now and what I've seen before. But I think there is plenty of good dogs at any given moment. What is crazy is that a lot of times there are really good dogs that nobody ever hears of, because they never even do anything, you know. So yeah, with the increase in dog training business, what is your most valuable recommendation for breaking into the business? You have two different paths. You can break in by some really good marketing and just kind of bullshitting people, or you can really try to deliver something that other people cannot. And you gotta kind of figure it out where you are and what you can do or not do. In some ways it's very unfortunate that everybody thinks can be a dog trainer, and it's just, you know, it's such an impossible thing. It's like everybody cannot be something else. It's just not possible. You don't have, like, times people just don't have that basic talent and feeling, and or they don't take the time to educate themselves or whatever, you know. But if you really want to be, you know, to give something and have the gratification of giving something that's useful, that's real, that you're actually truly helping, because everybody, like any dog trainer, is going to say, oh, so many dogs I've trained and so much success. And of course, I mean, I was talking to a friend a few days ago, and it's always kind of comes up in the conversation, you know, when you know, it's a very strange how you can have a second grader explaining something to a first grader, and you can have the teacher or somebody with a PhD on that subject trying to explain it to the first grader, but the first grader is not ready for it, so they think that the second grader kid is the god of the universe. And you know, it really depends who you want to be, but you can break into the business basically in very many different ways. The thing is to stay there and not to bullshit people, but actually have success. And that's where it gets tricky, because everybody claims that they have success, because you cannot, you know, you cannot measure success. You can have a first grader saying how great the second grader is of explaining something to them, because that's the level of communication and knowledge both of them have. It's kind of like you know, learning Jiu-jitsu from a blue belt or a white belt, and that blue belt, it was kind of sketchy. And you know, you can really grow, and you can really probably even have a very successful business, but bottom line, you gotta be happy deep inside that you're real and that you're really giving something to these people that need your help. I you know, that first grader, second grader, and a PhD expert, it's always I bring up sometimes. I don't know. Hello from Japan. I like it. Let's see, what else? What are you guys doing? 20 people in about 5 years. Yuli Udvitusha, how is Yuli? Wow. We need to put some pictures, put something on the Facebook group. That would be cool. We want to see, definitely want to see. Okay, there is Hugo. Strong like stone, unbroken soul inside. Yes, man, fuck. You know, Johan he actually has a frozen semen from him. And it's not much. And he's like, I probably even never gonna use it. But I'm so glad that I have it. We were talking because I collected turkudos, which, by the way, we're talking Malinois for the people that don't know. And Stone van de Duvetor, very, very, very famous dog that made some really, really cool stuff. And behind, was just a range of just legends. I had the chance to work all of them, like in training, and talk. And with turkudos, I collected them so many times, but I made a mistake and I kept all the semen in the same place. And with my luck, somehow the semen got towed, and and basically few people were able in the early times breed to him. And then when I decided that I want to breed, I couldn't breed him. The semen wasn't alive. And it was crazy because by the moment there was left for one last breeding, and I'm trying with this kind of female, and finally when that didn't happen, that's when I realized that he's gone. It was a nightmare. But if we're talking this kind of dogs, then for sure, and again, I'm a little biased because I know these dogs like personally. I mean, I've worked them, they've beaten me, like Elgos for sure. Not looking at training, not looking at anything else, but just his personality and his style of like that satisfaction of biting like nothing else. Bieber, Kim Duboskai, man, yeah, you took me way back out there. I gotta think of some shepherds because there were just some really badass dogs at the time. And again, I mean, there is some right now. It's not like, but we always look back as something more special than today. It's just human nature. Healing part 2 is gonna, like, me and Eric are working on this right now. Like, this is really what's on the table. Like literally right now we are doing it. So guys, I'm gonna grab another drink. I cannot have conversation like that, so hold on. It's kind of cool talking dogs without any purpose, but just talking dogs, right? Hopefully you're having fun. Let me see what's happening here. Alright, Jessica Nicholson, when using a reward event such as tug or ball, does it take away from the behavior being conditioned as classically rewarding in itself? Meaning the dog is just looking forward to the end. Instead of what though? Like, there's gotta be a little bit something more in your head that you're thinking. Because bottom line, like if we really get super philosophical, we all do something to get something pleasant, some form of pleasure, or to avoid something unpleasant. Like that's just how we are programmed biologically. Like that's kind of where my course, the training without conflict, starts on these premises. And so basically, we always do something either to gain something that we want, something pleasant, or to avoid something unpleasant. So that's kind of what the question probably, if we just answer it like this. Kyle, first experience catching a dog. Where, when, and what kind of dog? Papa. That's gonna take me way back. But guess what? These are the kind of experiences that you never forget. I mean, ever. Like I bet anybody that has or still do helper work will tell you this question. So it was back in Bulgaria, early 80s, and we had East German Shepherd lines, like real East German Shepherd lines. It's not like, it's kind of funny listening to people today still trying to kind of separate or talk about this. There is no such thing. There is only German Shepherds right now. But at the time, they were truly a different dog almost. So it was a East European, East German Shepherd dog, and it was the way we started was what the East Germans were training, and they had this really funny sleeves that now that I'm thinking back, I'm almost 100% sure that they were made from the material from the fire hose. This big white sleeve, and it goes all the way to here. And basically the long bites were, you always fell on your face because you're running away and the dog just charges you and gets you right here. And there were some big ass dogs. So that was my first experience. Just go flat out on my face, getting up. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Yep, that's how we went. Okay, people. If you're a black belt, stay in mind always the white belt. That's exactly it. That's the whole point. Or how the Buddhists say, Zen mind, beginner's mind. Like you always gotta keep it, otherwise everything stops. Yeah. Building, B-A-S-E, for any business. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure. New or up and comers in IGP, anyone you finding interesting? Yeah, of course, there is always. It's amazing. It's actually pretty cool to see new people going and really putting the time, because it's one thing to have the talent, but to actually have the discipline and to have the right dog and to put all that effort and sacrifice all this stuff. IGP is fucking brutal, and there's definitely new faces coming that it's very, very cool. And of course some that are not new but actually are coming back in, so there's quite a few. There's quite a few people that have been really learning and going and doing. So it's exciting. Segar de Alphaville, Bohemia. Yeah, very cool dog. Lori Franks, new follower. I've enjoyed this live. Many good points and advice. Good, Lori, thank you. Let's see. I guess I need to scroll way down. What similarities do I see between baby Django and his father? I'm not sure how you got. Ah, man, this is hard one. I think the similarities, it's the intelligence. Like Django, the father, he was I wish we can have a way to test IQs in dogs, like really test them. I mean, there is all the canine labs and whatever and cognition. It's not we're just not there. We cannot do it. But he was a super smart dog, like super smart dog. And this little one is the same thing. It's like he looks at me like, I know you're trying to teach me something and I'm gonna figure it out what it is. That's the kind of look. It's priceless. So that's if I can tell you with one or two things, that's what it is. It's a very that's bottom line, intelligence. What is the most common thing modern sport training system and practitioner are missing? But again, these are kind of, I wouldn't, these are tricky things because they are not, they're personal, views of training and stuff. So it's almost not fair to say, but I probably, as I said, it was I see so much effort being put in how to fake the dog doing something and look like it's doing it versus just challenging yourself and try to really do it. And even if you don't succeed, I think it's way more rewarding because it's more real. And I'll give you an example, an analogy of, like you can have a yogi in some really weird position, and then you can have some random person imitating that position, and they can look very much the same on the surface, but the yogi, who knows, he's like in some different reality, while the other guy is just struggling and hoping to where is this gonna end. Or there is dogs that are trained to do certain things and they do them very well, but they're doing them for the wrong reasons, just because it's either easier to train or the trainers don't see any other possibility to actually truly train it. And I like this kind of challenges. To me, training is like, this is the exercise, this is what we want to do. Let's try to make it the way we're trying to make it, not to make it look like it is. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's in a lot of training. It's becoming kind of like the WW wrestling, it's like it looks really cool, but there is no, it's not real. Again, these are personal things, like preferences. It doesn't mean much. All right, do you guys want to end? Anyone that wants to do my course and has questions about the course, of course, you can private message, you can go to the website. The class starts in a week. It's really cool stuff. And yeah, Catherine, lots of philosophers have been debating consciousness, where it comes from the brain. Some say having language is key, having consciousness. So do you think that dogs have consciousness? Do you think a dog can have it? So man, these are super philosophical questions, and as it's getting late and we're drinking more, we can talk about this kind of crazy shit. But consciousness and language, there is actually a lot of debate if language actually kind of suppressed and limited our expanding of understanding of everything. That's kind of where, you know, psychedelics and meditation and all these things come in place to do dogs have consciousness? Yeah, that's we all have something to some extent that it's similar. Humans clearly have an edge on everybody else on this planet, and no matter how close our brains are and everything, we dogs do not have like you know, as a dog lovers, we really want so bad to make them that they have this extra, like they are very close or not the same as us, but it's just not that way. It's a deeper conversation than that. You know, even defining consciousness is tricky. So, good question, but maybe it will be a different. Yeah, maybe we have a that lecture that I have, but it's for the course, how the brain works and stuff. It explains a lot of you know, consciousness, emotions, affect, mood, how the brain really makes sense of everything, and what the brain is, what the soul is, what the mind is, and yeah, we can go crazy in this too crazy. Talk a little bit about your sit in the motion, because they're really very best around the world. Yeah, you know, like it's actually really silly. It's not like just probably the main point of this, and I'm not giving anything new or away, but it's separating the stay from the sit, going to the sit, you know. So you have the sit as two parts. The one is going to it, and the other one is staying there. So if you focus on going in it, that's gonna make it better. The other one, if you yeah, like you I mean, I know what I'm gonna say. You're gonna make sense. Some people probably gonna kind of pass by them because it might be a little too advanced. I'll try to kind of go a little bit, but depending how the dog understands and how it's being taught, trained to heal, will affect the positions. Because if the dog is too preoccupied with healing, when they hear the command, that's asking them to do something else, basically to separate and stop healing but do something different, depending on the style of healing and how the dog perceives it in their head, that disturbs. They cannot make this very instant and comfortable separation to perform it correctly. Yeah. So that's a kind of recipe if you want to look in that. All right. Where is the best place to read actual scientific studies about canine behavior? Yes, man, there is oof. There are few. You gotta subscribe to some science magazines. You gotta buy a bunch of this is a hard one, because if you just read scientific studies, there is many weird scientific studies that should not be out. Like this is just not a. I mean, look at anything that comes out as the latest study. It's like you can eat less sugar, no, you can eat more sugar, not this fat, not that fat, not. I mean, in the 60s, doctors were smoking Marlboro and Camel, and it was advertised, and it was, so that the studies themselves, you need to have just a little bit more knowledge to begin with to be able to recognize and read a study correctly. Otherwise, you really gonna go deep in some rabbit hole and start believing things just because they're called a study. So it really will depend what kind of foundation you have, and what books and what education to be able to make your way and navigate through all the bullshit and pick what it is, because a lot of studies, and not just the dog canine studies, all studies, there is ideology, there is a tribe, there is a purpose that we need to make the outcome of a study a certain way. And these are things that, unfortunately we just need to be able to recognize and bypass. So I don't know, I'm probably not answering the question right, but that's something my school can help with. Hey Donovan, what's up? Larry has another question, maybe just as good. There is some likes here. With all the proof we have today, why do so many, if not most, still underestimate the emotional and intelligence ability of the dog? Yeah. I think, I think dog trainers are very confused right now. Like just trying to talk the language that everybody else talks, trying to do the things that everybody else does, and like what you just say, underestimate emotional and intelligence abilities. Like, I bet you there is no one single dog trainer on the planet right now that will say, I am not that trainer, it's that other one. And man, why is it like that? I think we are it's hard to navigate. Like there is a lot of information, And then there is, people are not patient, and then you get a lot of like really voodoo bullshit kind of training that it's sold and it sounds so scientifically sound, and then people go through it for so long and somehow it doesn't bring the promise, and then they go full on the other extreme. And yeah, I don't know, but it's there, it's for sure. A lot of times even now people will be like, oh, don't talk to him like a kid, like a baby. It's like, why not? Just because he cannot understand the whole sentence, he can definitely 100% pick on your mood, right? And that's a big deal. It's already a start. But oh, don't talk to him like that. It's like you just need to click and shape or whatever the style is, but it's like you're like you're not part of it, you're just standing aside and doing things, and it's sad because dogs want to interact. They try so hard to interact with us, and we're like, no, you're gonna be a world champion, and you're gonna stay in the crate now for the rest of your life, gonna come out for training, and or whatever extremes. I don't know. That's a tough one. Not sure if that helped. Let's see what else. When was the first major competition you went to that you felt you could actually win? That's another one that I can tell you right away. It was 1993, and it was in Finland, and it was with my first dog. My first IGP dog. That she was first a Belgian ring trained dog, and then I moved to the States, and then she became whatever. But it was there, and I was just doing my thing, like I always try to think and do what I felt, and we ended up placing 12th at the FCI championship, and at that time no American ever has done it, and we got second in obedience, and it was crazy because it was my first world championship, and I'm watching everything. I'm on the stands like completely mesmerized, and just it's like, I don't know, total euphoria kind of experience. And next thing you know, nobody's coming on the field, and I look at my friends there, I'm like, are we in break? What's going on? Next thing you know, I hear my name on the speakers, like Ivan Balabanov, of course butchered my name, which I'm so used to. Nikita de Dioputois need to come on the field now. I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to run like a maniac from the stands, from the stadium to the parking lot, grab my dog, sleeping in the crate. Good thing she was a female, so she can just kind of squat, pee real fast, and no warm-ups, no, just fucking go on the field and make 93 points in obedience under Hans-Jürgen Ritzi, one of the judges at the time. That when you heard the name Ritzi, you know that if you got 87 points, you're like, whoa. So that then I had it was a crazy trial. Like they the fields, they were plowed, like there was like this really like this big clumps, like the whatever you call it, this first kind of plow, and dogs were failing left and right. Dogs that would make normally 100 points, 99, 98, at that time we were talking 98, 1993, so they would be walking, and then there is this freaking big clump, and they're like, I know I'm not supposed to go over, I'm gonna get in trouble, but there is no track here and there is no track here, and then they just failing over and over, and on top of that, all of a sudden it just starts raining. We had 87 points, probably the best 87 points in tracking, my proudest score. And I've had at least 300 or 400 point trackings on world championships, but as I say, this is when everything comes together as you hoped. But the moments that you have challenges, those are the moments I think that you kind of appreciate. So since then I was like, wow, if I can do this the way I did it, that gave me the confidence. It just went. So Donovan, since meeting you at Larry's seminars, Strider and I have started Jiu-jitsu training. Very cool, good for you. Hopefully you enjoy the journey, because it's like don't always think about what you're gonna end up doing, because even if you win, the next day you're gonna be, what do I do now? So enjoy the journey, because that's what's about. It's a good journey. So welcome to the sport for sure, Donovan. Yeah, Larry, we try hard not to humanize, and it's wrong. I mean, it's wrong. It's also wrong to humanize in a sense where the dog is really like, what the fuck, I'm not a human, I cannot, certain things, but that's a different, I don't know, people just, it's like a ping pong. They just go either here or here really fast, and it's like, come on. Владимир, как си? Голями истории стават по България също. Август месец ще се видиме. Sorry guys, had to say a couple of words in Bulgarian. Just telling some of my friends that I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna see them. Jason, 10-month-old от Витоша Додора Vice. Nice. She's going through teenage stage. Like what when you said like this, you're kind of describing something, you're picturing something, but I don't know exactly what you are picturing. So give me the actual, what is she doing as a teenager, and then I can tell you a little bit. Anne-Marie, since we haven't talked in a day or two, how are you? What's your biggest regret from a competition or from training? There have been, but I'm not gonna even give the satisfaction to the people that caused me just shitty problems for no reason to even mention those things. There's always drama and bitterness, and gotta look forward and grow up, and just people. It's alright. Do your competition dogs live out in the house? Yeah, of course they do. Like if you go on my, just the post before the live that I'm doing, I had 3 of them today. Took a picture of them behind me in my office. Yeah, there is one right here, and I like my dogs. I have dogs so I can interact with them. I don't like them to be, in a kennel and be you're my tool for me to get famous. It's not a good way. I know few people like that, and it's not fair to the dogs. Funniest moment while training dogs? Man, there is many. I mean that can be a daily routine. We try to have some fun, and of course there is always something funny that's gonna happen, and sometimes it's funny, borderline stupid, dangerous, because who knows what we're doing. Of course I have gone to tracking without my dog, driving for an hour and forgot my dog at home. I've done some. There's many funny stories for sure. Hey Sam, what's up? How is Lebanon? I cannot believe what's up with news and shit. Like, you never know what's going on in the world when you're watching news. And we're still on. We're still doing what we said we're gonna do. Just gotta let it simmer a little bit. People, what do you say? Anything more? I can talk for a little bit, but if we don't have questions, we don't need to. Yes. I'm gonna put one love on this one. Anne-Marie, yeah, congratulations. I know you work hard and you deserve it. You passed the tests, so it's not some people didn't and some people did, and that's kind of, when I talk about the course, it's always like this. It's just because you pay the money and just because you go through the course, you may not pass. It's like I really want to try to make something to where when you go out there in the industry and you say that you've gone through my course, you can stand out in some way, and in a good way. So again, congratulations, and yeah, very happy that you made it through. A book about the funny things. Somebody on the, we have this Facebook groups, of course, and Zoom calls with my students for my class, and somebody recently was suggesting that I should write a book on Malinois. No, they asked me if there is any good one, and I'm like, I don't think there is anything. And then everybody's, oh, why should you not write one? It's like, yeah, I could. If I have that time, it would be a good book. I mean, for sure it would be a good book, but how do you find time to do everything? Yeah. Michelle, do you believe you can build strong work ethic in a dog? Do I believe that I can build strong work ethic? Yeah. If that's the question, yeah, 100%. Like I can train dogs. That's what I do. And I can have my dog work for me, not necessarily because he must, but because he wants to. Even if there is a female in heat, even if there is whatever, yeah, you definitely yes on that. The used book Advanced Schutzhund, that was this was a very long time. That's like 90s. This was there is some cool information, but you need to understand when you read that book that that was the time when force free or all positive training really just kind of just bursted out of nowhere, and it burst up, and everybody gave it a try. Does it work? Of course it works, but how much does it work when you put it to test with everything else, And so the book, even though you can see prong collars, even though quite a bit in that book is about how to use negative punishment. Of course, I talk about signals, release, and all this stuff, which now it's so common. But it's a good book to read as and just knowing how sport and training evolves. And as I said, there is some good things, but there is I wouldn't say there is anything that I would disapprove of. So yeah. Cheryl, the same thing. Congratulations. Really happy. When all of you were here this weekend and you're writing and doing the test, and I'm watching you, and I'm like, oh man, I wonder who's gonna pass, who's gonna fail, like I want everybody to do. And then I had all this time after everybody left. I'm just going through all the written tests, and just so curious to know who got it, who didn't, So I know it was not easy, and you did really good, and again, congratulations, awesome job. So we'll be seeing you in that other group now with the trainers that already have graduated. Kabul, Afghanistan. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I could go to Afghanistan. I know how it can happen. What do you guys have there? Do you train dogs? We don't hear too much about what you do, really. You will be curious to hear. What would you say to someone wanting to do TWC, hesitating just on the price? Yeah. Do it. No, definitely do it. There is no, I keep saying this, and I've said this to so many people that been in the industry forever, people that are starting. What you're gonna get out of the course will be something that you will not get somewhere else. And you can, if you email us, if you contact us, you'll get we can give you, you can talk to any of the students that have graduated, including the ones that haven't passed or whatever, it doesn't, It's a life work, and some extremely valuable information that is just not out there. So if you're into dogs and you want to know more and be good at it, absolutely go for it. Like no hesitation, like zero hesitation. Find the money. Trust me. Larry, ever think of retiring from competition? No. That was an easy answer. I don't think of retiring. I think it's very exciting. I think everything keeps evolving, and I need to also. And for me, it's really interesting just how it works, because I breed dogs. I also have my own training concepts, and it's it's just very, very interesting for me to be able to test my dogs against the best in the world, to test my training concepts against the best in the world. Again, just being in that circle of the top trainers in the world all the time, just the breeding alone, like genetic selections and this and that. Okay, you do a little bit more on this primitive sides, grips and whatever, but then how much obedience, and it's some people, like there's quite a few different reasons why people will go to competition, and I mean I'm very competitive. Like obviously I've been doing it for so long and I've won so many competitions and whatever, so I'm clearly very extremely competitive. But truly the roots of why I keep doing it is I come up with training concept, I try it, and then I want to throw it out there and see what happens, same thing with the breeding. And right now it's even harder. Like you gotta, it's like with martial arts, in 1993 anybody that knew Jiu-jitsu was pretty much guaranteed to become a world champion. Now you need to know a lot of different styles, and you need to not just know them, you need to be that special person, and so that evolution of things also is very interesting, and being able to stay competitive for that long, not to be you always have this one song hit, or this trainer that is like the, what you would call it, 5-year wonder. It's like I like dog training for so many reasons, that the going and competing is, I find it really important. Like I really do. I mean, from the course when I talk about sports and stuff, like I really think it's a important thing, to have the courage and the guts to kind of step out there and be on that empty space, and having talked all this talk, to actually say, okay, people, watch me, see, this is what I'm gonna do today. And it may be bad, it may be good, but it's I guess who I am. I don't know. It's a good question. I cannot wait to see what happens with your puppy, and once you start showing how you're gonna feel, because some people like it, some people don't, and some people, again, it's kind of like you go, but then you quit, and then there is those ones like me that just, it doesn't matter, you just get beat up, you get squashed, and you're like, oh, but I'm gonna do better next time. It's addiction. Jake, yes, I did use Rotten, and the puppies were amazing. Like, I'm gonna use them again. Like, the puppies were amazing. Like, I don't know exactly how many we had, but they were awesome puppies. Like, awesome puppies. So yeah, I would do it again. I was talking earlier about it, like, I definitely gonna do that again. Are there other dog sports you have competed in? I have done different sports, but I never really gone to the levels I do in IGP, and I understand very well quite a few different sports, like to the tiniest details, and I can, but like, you have few options. You can do a lot of things and do it on an average level, or you can do one thing and try to see what you can do, and then with the obsession of perfection and stuff, it's just hard one to. IGP offers a lot, so it's like almost training 3 different dogs in the same body, so it's very cool. All right, I think, how long we've been doing this? Some people have come and go, but some of you are staying. Again, I just kind of didn't, had to check on everybody and see what's up. It's been a while. Okay, I think we've done really good, people. Thank you for joining me about talking just anything. Next time we're gonna have a better plan, and we're gonna do something more interesting. For right now, I think that's pretty cool. It was good conversations. Hopefully you had fun, and have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Train your dogs and enjoy the rest of the day, night. All right. All right, people. We will be logging out. Take care.